Talk about a big day for AMC bulls. Holders were not disappointed today holding AMC. Now, what were the signs that it was going to rocket today as much as it did? Well, first of all, between yesterday's candle and Friday's candle on the daily, it looked a little bit like a bull flag. It was an inside bar. Now, today it gapped up above yesterday's high and above Friday's high. So it gapped up above resistance, showing strength. It pulled back initially. You can see the lower wick right there, but bulls bought that lower wick. Bulls bought that dip. It didn't fill the gap. It didn't fill the gap up, and not filling the gap up shows a lot of strength in the move. So it pulled back, but it didn't fill the gap between today's low and yesterday's high. So that showed a lot of strength in the move. Now, when we look on the 5-minute candle, and this is right at 9:30 over here. This is the pre-market. We look at the 5-minute candle. There was a big volume spike initially, right at the low. And the second candle broke the high of the first candle. So it already trapped a lot of shorts first thing in the morning. And anyone who sold and took profits first thing in the morning, they're already thinking, oh man, maybe it's going higher. Maybe I should get in. And so that's what happened. It did a run up. We had a little bit of a falling wedge here on the 5-minute, and once it broke this falling wedge and broke the high set in the morning, it was on. The horses were racing. It was going nuts. It just started flying. Now, where were the signs to start taking profits? Well, one of the things was that halt. I find when something's moving up like crazy and then there's a halt, sometimes that halt signals a temporary top. And it did, and it pulled back a good chunk from that halt, around 20%. But it rebounded, set a higher low, and then it rocketed to higher highs. And then that was the top for the day. It was around $72. And you could see clearly at that $72 mark on this candle, the candle where it hit the high, that was the highest volume spike of the day, aside for that volume spike in the morning. So really this was a clear signal to say it's probably topped out for the day, and it did at that time. Now it consolidated healthily, and bulls are trying to get another break above this high, which looks quite possible. This is a fairly healthy pattern. So we're going to see which way it breaks. Is it going to break below these supports down here? And I would say the $60 area is probably a pretty good line in the sand for a good support. Or is it going to break bullish and break above the high of today of around $72.60? So that's a key thing we're looking at for tomorrow. But clearly the stock is still in play. A lot of volume is still pouring in. It's up after hours already too. Is the move done? I don't even know what to say at this point. I think sticking to day trading it based on the signs of the day is probably a good way to go about it. Now, how do you know where the volume spike is? Because you saw the volume spike here, but then it went higher. Sometimes it's hard to gauge, is that the volume spike, or is the volume going to get even higher? And it did in this case. I would have thought this would have been a red flag right there with the reversal candlestick, but the key here is that it held the 5-minute higher low pattern. So look, it set higher low, 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 higher low. Now once it broke that low, it signaled some consolidation was due, but it quickly set a low, lower high, a higher low, and then back up to higher highs, and then it set its top for the day. It got halted quite a few times, and often on halts I've seen where if it's going up like crazy and then it just starts riding up really fast and then there's a halt, oftentimes I find that halt signals at least a temporary top. Or if it's dropping really fast and then there's a halt, I find that the halt often signals a temporary bottom. So in this case, it did signal that temporary top over here. I'm not sure if it got halted here or not. I wasn't totally watching it at this time. I think I missed it over there, so I'm not sure. But I wouldn't be surprised if it did get halted there too. So we're going to see tomorrow. Now, take this in, how it went high enough that the bottom of the candle touched the red line. And I find stocks touch this red line almost every single day. So AMC went high enough that the bottom of the candle literally tapped that red line, the 4-day moving average. Now tomorrow, if we open up here, the red line's going to be all the way down here, probably in the mid 40s or so. So the question is, do we have a consolidation day tomorrow and a big pullback? Or are bulls going to be able to rocket even more to $100, 120, and then the red line will touch the bottom of that candle tomorrow? At this point, I don't even know what to say because it's absolutely bonkers. The volume is insane. 760 million volume today. You multiply that by the average price it went for today, it must be over $30 billion or so or more. So a lot of money is changing hands here. There's still a lot of interest. Can we get even higher volume tomorrow? Anything is possible at this point. I'm really not sure. Make your own decisions. Keep an eye on the support, the resistances. Keep an eye on that 4-day moving average. Where is that at? Keep an eye if it breaks today's high or not. If it breaks today's high, that could be a good signal that it's running even further tomorrow. But if it also watch that if it breaks it, you want it to end up holding that area as a support and not just breaking it and then flushing back below, because then that could signal that it was a fake out. So be cautious there. You are playing with fire with this stock. It's obviously very risky, a lot of volatility, but a lot of opportunity on both ends, but mostly the bullish end right now. But once this move does hit its top, there's going to be a large decline. Once it hit its top, I don't know if it's hit its top yet. Maybe it hasn't. Maybe its top is 100. Maybe it's 150. I don't know. But once it hit its top, there's definitely going to be a quick, large decline, and there's some opportunity to make some money on puts or shorts or whatnot, but be cautious both ways. GME held yesterday's low, opened around the red line and rocketed above the upper Bollinger Band, getting close to these resistances up here. That's where it stopped out for now. These next resistances around, this one is at 295. Today it stopped at 294. So these are some of the resistances we're looking at. 295, we're looking at 348. Those are the next resistances on GME. Looking strong as well. It's like a big cup and handle on the weekly. Can it rocket even more? The monthly looks a little bit like a bull flag. Anything is possible at this point after seeing AMC. So keep an eye on these stocks. GME might be next in play. AMC may be due for some consolidation. But these stocks can be pretty hard to gauge because these types of moves don't happen that often in the stock market. Blackberry, huge volume spike, big day. Decent upper wick of profit taking though on Blackberry. And it really had a big volume spike near that high. There's another volume spike there, but it held the low there. And when it held that and past that level, that was a signal that was going even further. This volume spike signaled the top for the day. That was right around $20 Canadian. That's where it topped out for the day. And it's always good to keep a look at those psychological numbers. So $20 Canadian is obviously a big potential resistance area. And that's where it topped out for now. But this consolidation looks fairly healthy right now. So we'll see how it goes from there. It's holding a support here around 485 or so. It's holding that as support in the aftermarket, and it was holding it as support before the end of the day as well on the 5-minute chart. When you're trading a stock that's duly listed on the Canadian and the US exchange, if you want to be a little more prudent, take a look at both, because you're going to want to keep in mind the psychological resistances and potential resistances on both tickers, because as I said, it topped out Blackberry at $20 Canadian today, which was $16.66 US. So clearly that $20 Canadian area was a clear resistance area to look at, that round number. Roblox is hot. Roblox has been moving. It passed $100 today, increasing bull volume, but not a huge volume spike, so it might not have topped out yet. Although a decent upper wick of profit taking. Potentially look for a little bit of consolidation before potentially going higher back above that $100 mark on Roblox. But clearly this stock is in play as well. Sundial appears to be getting a move and a lot of interest as well. Today's volume was nearly 400 million volume. It's picking up too. Not much resistances ahead up until, I would say, $1.35 or so, around there. Next clear resistance area we're looking at, which is around a previous support. If we look on the weekly, next clear resistance area upwards of $1.75. So it's got some room to run, Sundial. And if we look on the 5-minute chart, has this little bit of a cup and handle here. I think it's more clear if we look on the 15 minutes. Got his cup and handle on the 15-minute chart, and it broke out after hours, making a little bit of a bull flag. Sundial may have more juice left in the tank. Talked about space yesterday. How potentially buying the dip might have been a good idea, which happened this morning, pulled back a little bit, set a low, and then it rocketed to highs. It's got a nice healthy pattern here. Looks like it could potentially continue. Space is also a very heavily shorted stock too, Virgin Galactic. So a lot of these heavily shorted stocks, they're in place. Sundial, Virgin Galactic, Blackberry, GameStop, AMC. A lot of the heavily shorted stocks are in play again. Even the weed stocks, and not just Sundial, but look at ACB. ACB has done a huge move recently. I mean, it was as low as $6.59 US, and now it's over $10 US. So ACB's been making a move. ACB is also a very heavily shorted stock too, passing a lot of critical resistance areas. Moving back up into the upper Bollinger Band on the weekly. On the monthly, looks like it could potentially be an inverse head and shoulders. So that's interesting there on the longer term time frame on ACB. Look at ACB. This stock has got crushed in the past. This was a big bearish head and shoulders in the past, which really signaled a long-term top in the past from the weed bubble. Are we getting a little bit of the opposite over here? That's potential, where we can get back into a potential longer-term uptrend again. Keep an eye on ACB. Keep an eye on these heavily shorted names. I'm going to take a look quickly at Tesla and NIO. Both of these pulled back today, and these stocks were getting a bit of play last week. So I guess some people took some profits to move it into the meme stocks today. Tesla appeared like it was making a bull flag, but it broke bearish, so it's not a bull flag anymore. Now they want to get a little bit of a cup and handle potentially. I don't like the monthly chart on Tesla. It's below that 4-month period, the red line. I just by what I see, I feel like it could drop down lower. I know Michael Burry is shorting it. He's got a massive short position, over $500 million on puts. Tesla had that double bottom on the weekly, but it could be a bit of a fake out. You know, bulls buy the dip, fakes, bears out that it's a double bottom, and then if it goes and ends up breaking this level, if it could see a lot more downside. The next supports areas are in the low 400s, low to mid 400s. So if it does break this area, that would be the target that we'd be looking at. Still holding the weekly low from last week. It's holding the red line this week, the 4-week. So it doesn't look terrible, but it's not looking too hot right now. NIO, double topped here on the weekly so far. Upper wick of profit taking thus far. A little too far from the 4-week moving average. On the daily, doesn't look too bad. A little bit of a volume spike though the other day. Again, couldn't pass this resistance up here. Look for a little bit of consolidation, and then you want to see, is it able to pass this resistance and head back into an upward trend or not? Now, we've had several death crosses on NIO. It's got the death cross where the 50 dropped below the 100, and it's even got the 50 dropping below the 200. day moving average. So that's considered a death cross and often signals that declines are ahead. Obviously, it's not a for sure signal, but it's one of the things I look at that just tends to show momentum. So while it's done this big increase here, this looks like a short squeeze because it broke the critical support without follow through, was brought back above. That would have been the signal to buy, at least for a temporary move up. Once it broke this area and it moved back above and trapped shorts below there. So those are the stocks we're looking at right now. Those are some of the hot stocks in play. A lot of other meme stocks. Bed Bath & Beyond was one of them too. Keep an eye on those stocks. Happy trading. Hope you guys make the right decisions with your trades. I'm going to make more videos. Again, be sure to subscribe, like, comment, share, and check out the course as well if you want to learn more about studying technical analysis and everything else about the market too. Thanks for watching.